precious creation of God. When you were walking in this world, doing all the normal things that everyone seems to do with a few exceptions, when you were going to school, starting to either work or have a separate adult life, all of those elements that were in your life at that time, you thought everything was real. When you were in school, you believed in grades. You believed in excelling to the top of the class or failing or being somewhere in between. And every day you tried to either triumph or you were worried about failing. And every day was dedicated to protecting yourself as deeply as possible from even yourself, from your own failures, and then trying to push into success. You thought it was all real. You bought it. And everyone did the same thing. All of your friends and all of your relatives believed the same thing. You reported back to those that were in charge. And you either went home with pride to explain your success, or you went home with worry because you didn't necessarily fulfill your duty of success. But all the time was devoted to worry. You tried to fill your days with as much activity as possible so that you wouldn't dwell on the worry. And everyone had their own way of hiding from the identity that was haunting each one as either not good enough or still trying to succeed. Everything in your life in the past was geared basically to winning or losing. Winning or losing in every way. Winning or losing friendships, winning or losing success, whether it was work or school. Counting how many friends you could count on, because how many friends you had was equated with how worthy you were and how worthwhile you were. Everything was a question of how were you doing? How were you succeeding or failing? And then began the questions within. How could this be the reality? Why did everybody have to work so hard at proving their worth? And why did some seem to do it so easily and others struggled with it? And where did you fall in the lineup? But as you started moving into deeper adult identity, you questioned all of it to a certain extent. And then you began to find your way of looking for a deeper purpose within your life. Sometimes you did it secretly so that relatives wouldn't know. Sometimes you did it with friends, seeking, going to different workshops or whatever was available. But all of it was questioning the past. What was it for? And now most have found their way to what works to move forward toward the truth of oneness with God. Most have found their way in some form or fashion to inquire more about who am I? What am I? What is it all for? That question just keeps reinserting itself. Purposefully, it reasserts itself. And now in this moment, the question is still here. What is it for? And what am I? Allow yourselves to hold that question consciously. Allow yourself to hold and question your purpose. The answer is within you, and the answer is in the path that has pulled you to discover all the answers to all of those questions. But now is the time also of going as deeply as possible to use this time, to use this part of the journey to really dive as deeply as possible, not to waste another moment on caution, carefulness, coolness, and resistance. The caution and the coolness and the resistance has been, for most, right there in the starting box with the intention to discover, but still using caution, trying to control the outcome and trying to control how quickly everything can change, how quickly truth can transform so much. So in this moment, the call to the deeper honesty and to the deeper wanting. It's calling all of humanity. Everyone receives it differently. Everyone hears it differently. And yet it's all coming from the same source. God is calling. Love is calling for transformation, to come back to the truth of love and to live as the truth of love and letting everything else fall away. So in this moment, affirming the deep desire of the heart, the wanting of the mind to be free, and affirming simply in this moment that this universe is all love, and you belong within that universe of love as a natural extension of God's creation. You have a visa, you have a passport that gives you complete access to the entire universe as the creation of God. That you have access to the mysteries of the universe, to everything that God has created. You are one with that. Everything of the universe is yours. Everything that the universe has created is you. And all of the wisdom that was created in God is yours. How do you access this wisdom and this totality of the universe? How do you access it and join with it instead of the caution, the coolness, the resistance? How do you propel yourself into all that is waiting for you to discover and be home in? Because the universe is your home. The universe is what you are made of. The universe is what lives within you. The entire universe is within you. And you are one with it all. As I say that, does it resonate? Or does it still seem to be a foreign concept? That's the veil that's being called to be broken through as the creation of God, as the truth of who you are. So in this moment, as we affirm that the universe is all love, and that the blessings of the universe are yours constantly, and that you are the light of God that happens to be living in a temporary identity. The journey of back to reality has a gift for you in the sense that the truth of the universe is saying to each beloved, stop trying to make a better false identity. Don't let your attention go back to the past of trying to produce a more accomplished temporary identity. There is a prayer that says you have played that game in the past, but it's no longer your game. The game of proving your worth within the world is old and tired and has no purpose. You are here to learn to love, to be that love, to be the truth of your wisdom, to be the truth of God's creation. You are that in the oneness of love. Every time that there is a prayer that's spoken or sung, it's for you. Every time there is a prayer that is sung or spoken, it is to open the veils that are keeping you from recognizing the truth of who you are. Each prayer has a specific purpose to assist each beloved to remember that this prayer could be the prayer that could spark within you a total recognition of, oh, my journey is no longer the journey that I walked when I was in school or when I was younger. I am not in the journey of this world. I am in a journey returning to the creator of your truthful self. Within the journey to love are all of these divine assistants. Here you have, when you were in school and you tried to make friends and you tried to count your friends and you worried that maybe you didn't have enough friends to be in the popular spectrum, be aware of how many friends that you have that truly, truly love you in every way possible. All of the divine beings that God has created serve you. You have an army of help that serves you and serves your remembering. All you have to do is open your heart to your prayer, open your heart to the truth, ask for clarity, ask for guidance, ask for truth, ask to be shown, and it immediately is accomplished for you. In the capacity of being identified with an identity within this world, you have no concept of how much help and how loved you are in your natural state. Let every prayer be yours. Let it go as deeply and as fully as possible into your awareness to transform everything that has been made up. Upon the wings of love. Over the mountains of despair, we will rise above, over the heartache and the pain, upon the wings of love. The healing of our savage heart, gently by the dove, miraculously transforming us upon the wings of love. Terrible mistakes we think we've made, regrets we've undergone. Sometimes the hopelessness makes us forget the sun at dawn. All delight and joyousness, the tender mercies of Jesus, who carries our burdens upon the wings of love. Where, when you were in your identity within the world, believing in it hook, line, and sinker, where were your burdens carried by someone that you knew? Who carried your burdens? And was there actually someone that would carry your burdens? And yet, the divine beings of love are all lined up, wanting to take your burdens, your perception of burdens, of your false identity that's ready to be healed. All of heaven is waiting to serve you if you will allow it, if you will ask for it, if you will join with it. The tender mercies of those beings that carry the burdens away, that have been fabricated within this lifetime of all the ideas of comparisons, of all of the ideas of good and bad and right and wrong. All of these have been burdens. Your ideas of light and dark, your ideas of who was unkind to you, of who changed you, and the realization that nothing has changed anything of the truth of who you are. And the willingness to truly put that past life into the hands of God to be free. Waiting and allowing. I must love. I must love with all of my heart. The Blessed Mother. The Blessed Mother is the one who calls me to love with all of my heart. The Blessed Mother has been with you from the moment you incarnated, even though you were not aware. And now you can be aware and have this incredibly perfect, whole relationship with the Divine Mother of all creation that is your Divine Mother. Opening, 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 and willing to be in the heart with the Divine Mother. Oh, my Blessed Mother, my Divine Mother, you hold us in the truth of all forgiveness. We are here to remember how to love because we have forgotten. Divine Mother, we say yes to all of forgiveness. We forgive the past, we let it go, and we no longer look back with envy, with jealousy, with greed, with pity, with sadness, with longing. No, everything is here, right in front of you, waiting for you to open your heart and open your eyes to the truth of love. We say yes to forgiveness so that we may remember that our purpose is to love. I must love. Eu devo amar no coração. A Virgem Mãe foi quem me deu para eu amar ao Senhor Deus. Divina Mãe, vos nos perdoe os filhos seus, para nos amar com grande amor. Divino Pai, Rei Criador, vos nos perdoe, nos pecadores, para nos amar com grande amor. I must love. The answer to all trepidation, to all caution, to all upset, to all nerves, to all worries, to all ideas, everything comes back to remembering the truth of love and opening the heart, the willingness to do so in this moment and in every moment. Practice this new bird call. The way we live opens windows and calls in a secret voice to anything that is still supposedly missing. There is nothing in your mind that you have not invited in. There is no event in your life that you in some way did not drive a hard bargain for. We were all once like moons, full and bright. The heart, in its wisdom, ceaselessly shops and looks for God. The wise in any foreign country seek a true guide. The guide says, just practice this new bird call. It will attract to you the greatness of love. There is nothing in your mind that you have not invited in. That is the first place of healing that every beloved who has walked on this earth in separation will come to. There is nothing in your mind that you have not invited in. If that is true, then you have all of the power within you, within your choice, to let go of everything that's in your mind from the past and open your mind to all of the wisdom of the universe. That is your journey. There is no event in your life that you in some way did not drive a hard bargain for. What did you bargain for? What did you fight for? What did you want? Look at the past and look at the time when you believed that you were needing to succeed within the world and prove your worth. What hard bargains did you fight for? What did you try to attain within the world that now you can realize was for what? When the wisdom of the universe is yours. There is no event in your life that you in some way did not drive a hard bargain for. This isn't just about succeeding with the world. This is about how we perceive the world through the lens of lack, loss, and the belief that you are not loved and not worthy of love. All of these lies can still be being believed. These have been lies in every lifetime. But if you give your loyalty to these beliefs, they will be your beliefs, and it will be the lens that you look through. That's why we have beloveds who come to clarity and precision to be able. Jesus, who that is not in your false identity that you've made up, but only if you're is the game that's being played. It's like the child with the cookie jar. If the child sticks his hand into the cookie jar and wants to hold on to the cookies while his hand is still in there, he can't take his hand out of the cookie jar. So his hand stays in the cookie jar, thinking, but at least I have the cookies, even though the cookies can't come to my mouth, because my hand has to stay in the cookie jar in order for me to get that many cookies. There's the fear. The cookies are the beliefs of the world that you want to keep, while every element of God is saying, give me your burdens. Give me your false identity so that you can be free, so that you can escape from the pain and the suffering that you make with your own mind about what you think you know. So here is the cookie jar on one side and freedom on the other. And the ego steps in and bargains. Well, okay, I'll just take 3 cookies and I'll take a little bit of what you're offering to be unburdened. But I don't want to be unburdened all the way, because I want to still have control. I want to be in control of my destiny. Unlike the belief of destiny in the world, we have only one destiny. It is the returning home to the truth of your being, to self-realize, to awaken to the divine truth of your divinity within the universe. Everything that you settle for with your hand in the cookie jar keeps you from realizing, self-realizing your exquisite perfection as the creation of God. That the universe is actually yours. Not that you are going to have a little slice of something someplace. No, the entire universe is yours. If you allow the truth to come into your heart and into your mind, so that all of the past can disappear. So how do you find that place within you that wants the truth and wants to return home. To return home. There is one teaching that opens the door, and that is, I must love every beloved as the creation of God. In this moment, you have the capacity to see each beloved as the light of God. The only thing that stops your ability to recognize the truth of God in others, which are all you, is the holding on to what you think you know through your senses and through your identity within the world. What would happen if, let's say you know somebody named Eddie. Eddie, the name just rolls on the tongue, Eddie. But Eddie has an identity. And there's a pride in making sure that you know Eddie's name, his whole name, maybe even his middle name. Eddie B. Johnson. I know his name. I know what he does for a living. I know how old he is approximately. I know about his background. I know where he comes from. I know where he was born and what he's done for a living. I know that he had brothers and sisters. I know all these things about Eddie. Now multiply this, your information, multiply this by 1,000 at least. And hold all that information about each beloved, just like Eddie. But Eddie is the creation of God. Or did you miss that? Did his name overwhelm you? Did his information overwhelm you? That maybe you came from the same town. Or maybe you went to the same school. Or maybe you have the same kind of sense of humor. What is it that you're attaching to for Eddie to be somebody that you know? So now take Eddie and strip away the name, the age, where he went to school, how many siblings he had, his sense of humor, the commonality. Give it to God. And see this beloved in his actual truth with your heart. Now, Eddie has shown up, and he showed up for your mental capacity. He showed up so that you could go through your litany of what you know about him. And yet Eddie is staying, waiting for you to recognize who he is, because he's depending on you to recognize who he is, so that he has the strength to walk the way of love. He doesn't have the words to say to you, please see the truth of me. Please open your heart. Please connect with me in truth. Please, I'm here to remember. I gave you the information because you asked for the information to know what my name was, what my whole name was, how old I was, and all of the other stuff. But that's not who this beloved is. And this beloved is waiting for the awareness of another heart to connect in truth to a holy purpose that you have together. Multiply this by 1,000. Multiply this by 2,000. Multiply this by every one that you have entered your life, that you are here for one purpose, that you have turned a corner from the past of all of your fears and all of your worries that you carried in the past about succeeding, about being good enough, about having enough friends, about what your purpose was. And now you realize that your purpose is to remember the truth of love for everyone, and to live that truth as the wisdom that God created. To live the truth of love without worry, without concern, without competition, without anything other than peace and harmony and joy. And to rest in God even while you're walking within a body that isn't the truth of who you are. So now who is Eddie? Eddie B. Johnson. Has his name disappeared yet? Have you been able to see his exquisite vibration of love that matches your vibration of love? This is what you will discover if you will step out of the coolness, the caution, the wanting to be in control. You've done this for 10,000 lifetimes already. And now this lifetime opens the door to truly being open to the mysteries of the universe, where you belong. There is no event in your life you in some way did not drive a hard bargain for. There's nothing in your past that you didn't drive a hard bargain for, that you didn't carry in your mind, and you made that identity just like Eddie made his. Eddie made his identity. And what his heart is saying is, don't believe my statistics. Don't latch on to my statistics. I'm not here to keep promoting that we went to the same school, that we know the same people, that we have this in common. No, I am here to connect hearts and to return to the truth of our oneness. And I can't, Eddie is saying this, I can't do it without another heart opening, that I can see the truth of them and they can see the truth of me. The truth. To see the truth. What is it that you believe your spiritual journey is for, except to return home to the magnificence of your divine creation, your oneness with all creation, that every single beloved is you, not somebody else, not Eddie B. Johnson. You. The truth of your spirit is the same truth of every spirit. The key of love is to go beyond the facade that's been made for yourself and for everyone that you meet. And how do you do that? How do you open that door and want to return home? Well, one of the ways to want to return home is to recognize how insane your mind has been of what you made and settled for. If you touch just a little bit of the disturbance, of the pain, of the identity that you made, as Hafiz says, there's nothing in your mind that you have not invited in. All the agreements that you had with pain and suffering and trying to prove your worth, let it be shown to you how painful your mind made of your life. Recognize that you don't want that pain anymore, that you're not going to settle for less nervousness, but still be totally nervous. That's not what you're here to heal. You're here to heal to the totality of your perfection that can never be changed, that can never be altered. The perfection that has been waiting to be awakened with your willingness to open your heart and offer love. That happens to be the way that we heal, is learning to offer love. Or we can stay in the same identity, holding on, and even attempting to have a conditional game going on with God that says, I will be the decider of when I take the brakes off and I come toward you. I'll decide that. Who is the I that is deciding that? It's the ego. The ego that is not your friend, that has no interest in anything but pain and suffering and separation. The ego that ran your fears when you were in high school. The ego that ran your suspicions of your unworth. The ego that said, you're nothing. And you're going to try to prove your worth, but it's never going to be enough. It's never going to fulfill anything. And nobody that you know from the past, including Eddie, has anything until everyone remembers the heart. You cannot bargain with God. God will listen. God won't judge your bargaining, but there is really no bargaining with God. There's no trade-off. There's no, you can keep your identity and still come home to the wisdom of the universe. No, the illusion can't participate in the truth of love's creation. Your power, the power of love that you are, has the power to transform and move things within the universe. You can see through all of creation and see the truth within every beloved. You can see their prayers. You can see and you can feel what would help them most. You have the power to penetrate through this dimension and serve love in a way that you have no capacity to see it as long as you're believing in the body. And love is waiting for you to meet that 1,000 Eddie, the 2,000 Eddies, the 3,000 Eddies. Those are all the beloveds that are waiting for you to be available with love, to see the truth, and to set yourself free and to set them free. You have this power within you. You lived another life in this lifetime. You lived a life like Eddie's, where you had an identity and you protected it and tried to defend it, tried to find its place within the world, but it never quite worked. And all the while, love is calling to you, wanting to get your attention. And it gets your attention through your yearning that's started to develop within, that you could feel that there was something that you wanted, something that was not complete, something that was missing, but you didn't even have a clue of how tremendous was what you had let go, what you put the veil down and lived a false life, and what you gave up for that false life. You gave up the power of the universe. It didn't go anywhere. You can't change the power of the universe. You can't change love. It is what and who you are. It is your divine spirit. But you cannot serve two masters. You can't serve Eddie's identity and serve the truth of love. Eddie's identity, Eddie doesn't want his identity to be served. Eddie came to have a heart open and see him in truth. Now, it would be a meeting of the heart if Eddie is standing there saying, are you ready? Are you ready for your heart to break open and be available and connect and realize that we are one, completely in equality and completely in union of love, and that we are in the creation of the universe as one? Is that within you? Yes, it is within you. But recognize that you're making a choice all the time. Don't be fooled by the idea that your habits of the past will magically disappear out of a rescue attempt by the universe. That's not going to happen, because you have free will. And in that free will, even though you believe that the habit just goes along and you're not actually choosing it, you are choosing it. There's no judgment about you choosing it, except that you're not in the truth of who you are, remembering and living the authentic life of the power of the universe. You have the power of the universe within you, and all the wisdom of the universe is waiting for you to accept it, to live in that love. Now, the ego that still believes in Eddie B. Johnson, that ego says, I want to split because I'm believing that what I'm letting go of has worth. All you have to do is touch for just a moment, a second. the power of the universe, the love of the universe. And you would never want to keep both once you touch that. And even without going into the entire universe and meeting the truth of you, all you have to do is open your heart for a moment and connect in the authentic love with another, and you will never doubt again. But be aware that there is a doubt that is running the show as long as the ego plays its game. Love is calling to you. The way we live opens windows and calls in a secret voice to anything still missing. Calls in a secret voice to anything that is still missing from your awareness. But the one thing that love cannot do is it cannot force you. It cannot and will not try to force you to be remembering the truth of who you are. It cannot force you. If you choose Eddie B. Johnson as you want to keep him as his identity, maybe he could be like a pet. You know, he could just be someone that you keep around because you like their name and their identity. But God is calling you to set this beloved free, to see this beloved as you, as the creation, and that you have the power, and it is your power that is necessary because you are one with Eddie. And Eddie is longing to remember and needs the heart to meet the heart, to find the heart as one. All the while, you have all of this help that will open the doors and open the windows that you are saying yes to, and that will show you the way to offer love and to see the truth. He'll be right there. And it's possible that you will happily let go of the past. And not only happily let go of the past, forgive the past, but also that you are there to set all the beloveds free that you believed were part of family, that were part of your schooling, that were, doesn't matter where they were in the past. Are you willing to set them free? Are you willing to open your heart to let them see how much love there is, and that it will spark that love within them also? Imagine yourself answering your door and Eddie B. Johnson is standing there, and you have forgotten his name. The name has disappeared. His identity disappeared, and you see this beloved standing there that for the first time you can recognize the oneness between you. And you reach for him, you embrace him, not as a body, but because he is the Spirit of God that was sent to you to set you free as you offer him the same? Or do you close the door again and say, I didn't have any use for him. I have other things to do. I have a schedule to keep. Let it all go. Let it all go. Let all the judgments go. Let all the opinions go. Let all of the ideas go of what you're holding as reality. And let the wisdom of the universe fill you with clarity and love and peace and harmony. Because it's where you belong. It's what you are completely. You are that love. You are that light. Your journey is not to seek for love, but to find all within you that has been built against it. And that's what Eddie B. Johnson is there for, is for you to recognize how you've held yourself in containment within this world and refused the love that is waiting for you, and to want to break that determination of the ego so that you can break your heart open, so that the divine will break open your heart. And if you have to cry for a few years, let the tears cry. Break open and let everything that you made up be released. That's the only purpose of tears. Tears are not for, the tears are used for the ego life of lamenting. Oh, I've been so badly treated. Oh, I hate thinking about my past. Oh, this person was so mean to me and I was so afraid of them, and I was always struggling with them, and all of that is being called to be poured into the heart of God. All the lies that have been made about the past, all the stories, all the identification that's been attached to as your badge of differences. And what the tears are really for is to cleanse from the lies of the past, to let the tears wash away all of the false information that you've taken as reality, emptying your heart of its bitterness, of its suspicions, of its belief in needing to be defended. Nothing to be defended anymore. Free to love, free to become one with all creation. To be the power of the universe, not as an identity, but as a natural extension of your creation. Cleansing the mind of its little minutiae of limitation, and accepting, I must love. I must love with all of my heart. The Blessed Mother has called me to be the love of this world, and I must love, because that is what I'm here to remember, that love.